Hi, this is Isabel Florence, and you are listening to YouRLight podcast, a safe space where we talk about mental health and well-being. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce someone whose work goes far beyond the realm of traditional physical therapy. Dr. Jason Won is not just a board-certified orthopedic specialist and founder of Flex with Dr. J, but also a man of deep discipline and purpose. In today's episode, we'll explore how Dr. J believes that the mind plays a powerful role in managing pain, and how the stories we tell ourselves, our identity, can directly impact our physical well-being. Dr. J has revolutionized the way we look at chronic pain, offering a holistic approach that combines movement, mental resilience, and self-care. Let's dive into this deep and transformative conversation together. Enjoy. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely excited to be here.
Explain to us what you do, your passion behind it, and how you got to doing this work.
Awesome. Well, I'm Dr. Jason Won. I am a board certified orthopedic doctor of physical therapy, and I specialize in helping people worldwide or even in the Bay Area of San Francisco with getting rid of chronic pain, helping them to get stronger, helping them to feel not just more fulfilled, but to elevate their quality of life through habit and lifestyle change. Some of the things I always say is that with people that struggle with chronic pain, it's not just always a manifestation of physical symptoms. There's always a mental health aspect to it. There's a lot of people that I see that struggle with anxiety and depression, and ultimately a lot of things that potentially magnify the pain experience, right? Especially when they feel a sense of helplessness or this pain may never go away. So the way that I got into my profession was when I was just 19 years of age, which was 17 years ago. I got into a couple car accidents that were not my fault, but one of them, it really left me in a bad place. The first one, it just left with a couple neck and back aches, not too bad, recovered pretty fast as a teenager. The second one, it really hit me harder, where my neck was really thrown off and a lot of issues that never really went away. You would think that a 19-year-old male would be able to recover pretty quickly from a car accident, but I was not able to recover as fast as I wanted to because there's a lot of confounding factors and experiences that, again, may magnify the car accident experience. And one of those things was when my dad had stage 4 colon cancer and he passed a year later. People don't see how their life and the things that go on in their life can affect their symptoms and affect their mental health and affect every organ in the body. And here I was, this 19-year-old person that was struggling with pain, depression. I was constantly going to a chiropractor, constantly going to a massage therapist. Nobody could really figure things out. And it wasn't until I really learned more about mental health, I started learning more about, the power of exercise and started combining a lot of lifestyle factors that ultimately pulled me out of that situation. And here I am today. One of the things that inspired me to get my doctorate was because I want to help more people not have to go through the situation that I went through, which is not necessarily the car accident, but not have to go through a death in the family. My dad didn't take care of his health as much as he should, didn't have the best diet, didn't have the best exercise consistency, didn't do the right screening to catch this cancer in the first place. So I think ultimately I'm trying to help people worldwide with figuring that out and making sure that they can change their life, do the right preventative things, so they can live a longer and happier quality of life.
It's really beautiful because what strikes me is the holistic mindset that you have towards something that people would usually see, oh, it's a pain in my body, it's separate to my mind, it's separate to how I identify myself and all these things, but actually everything is connected, and that's really beautiful about the human being. But it takes a while to really understand the power of this combination. How did you get to the point where you truly understood it?
Time is our most precious commodity. I guess over time, you have a couple choices, right? You can continue to wallow and maybe accept your current situation. You said a big word, which is identity. A lot of times you go through these stages after death in the family. There's a sense of, crying, there's a sense of sadness, then there's a sense of denial. Is he even gone? Right. Then eventually you start to accept your current situation. And once you accept it, you have choices on paths that you want to choose. And those paths are, you can continue to suffer with pain, you can continue to have these physical symptoms overcome your life and keep you from the things you want to do. Me, I wanted to start a family. At that point, I felt like I was going to be a deadbeat father because I just couldn't even sit still for 10 minutes and not have some neck and back issues. But the choice that I had was, as somebody that was a pretty stubborn kid growing up, I always had that prove you wrong mentality. I was very encouraged by my family, telling me to keep pushing forward. I also was somebody that said, I'm going to fight for my life. I'm going to fight for my family. I went to school. Got into doctor of physical therapy school, got my doctorate degree, specialized further in orthopedics. And leading into that, before that, I started exercising. I started working on my mental health. I started to just sit still and just be aware of the tension in my body. It's so funny how you can easily just close your eyes, sit there, and you can start to feel just with your breathing patterns where you're stiff, where are the areas that need help. A lot of my clients with neck and back issues, I always tell them, like, just give yourself a hug, one elbow over the other, close your eyes. Your breath will actually tell you where your breathing is. A lot of times what people breathe into their lower back, some people will breathe like this. And they'll start to feel their neck kind of engorged with a lot of tension. So a lot of times you say, okay, well, now that's where maybe causing the tension in your neck. Now try to breathe into your diaphragm instead, breathe into your rib cage. It's funny, you haven't even done much exercise outside of breathing, and then they start to feel their neck pain dissipate.
Even just breathing pattern can influence someone's physicality and pain.
Totally. When I used to work in the hospital, people would have pneumonia, right? They would have different lobes of their lungs that are like fluid filled, for example. So it's very hard for them to breathe. So it's very cool how you can actually just have somebody sit right at the edge of the bed, let's say on a chair right next to the bed. They can put their elbows on the edge of the bed, and you can simply just wherever you want to. It's really cool how the body works. You can put your hand on like the left lower lobe, whereas like right by the rib cage, and somehow their lungs can start to breathe into those areas and they can finally start to breathe better. So again, like even just that somatosensory input really makes a difference. That's one of the things I tell my clients initially, at least, is just sit there. Don't even do any exercise yet. Just bring awareness to where your attention is. Then eventually you can actually breathe into other concavities of your body and breathe away some of that tension. Now you're feeling a little bit more confident and empowered that, okay, that's just breathing. Now I just got to learn to do something innately human, do that correctly. And then you can start to layer on the other things like mobility and strength exercises. I know you're pretty versed in nutrition as well. So we kind of give some of that more holistic aspect to treat the entire person.
Wow, that's amazing. It's interesting how I find that a lot of people that are really passionate about their work, the passion has come from pain. It takes a lot of strength to take some pain and make it your goal in life to change other people that have similar pain as well.
Absolutely.
What would be the steps if someone would come to you and say, look, I have really bad lower back pain, let's say, because that's something that's so common. You would say self-awareness first, right? And then what are the next steps?
I think there's like general steps that I can give, and I'm going to give like the general steps of what somebody can take so that whoever listening to this can start to make some meaningful changes in their life. At the same time, I've always said it in healthcare that one of the reasons why I started my own journey, started my own business, is a lot of the gaps in healthcare. A lot of America is very heavily based on insurance, is based on reimbursement. So you're reimbursed for exact time constraints. And I always thought that that was not the way I wanted to treat, because then you're kind of guided by insurance, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes of manual therapy, 15 minutes of exercise. And then you literally, it feels like almost like you're kicking the person out. It's like, oh, they don't even get to hear from you again. They don't get that accountability. They're there because they're sick. They're not necessarily there to learn how to prevent issues from arising again. And so that's why I thought healthcare is very reactive. It's more about it's sick care, where they let the person get very sick first before they do something about it. And that's not being proactive. So I guess the first steps for anybody maybe that's maybe suffering with acute or chronic low back pain, I think would be just be acutely aware of your symptoms and just be mindful. Another thing that I always say is understand that all pain passes. It doesn't matter if you actually strength train or do yoga or do anything. If you just sit there due to time alone, your body will reduce any sort of inflammation. Eventually that pain will dissipate. So just even just that mindset of this pain will pass, it will not last forever. In the moment, it feels like it's going to last forever,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the cycle that people with chronic pain are stuck in. They think that they're helpless, they're going to feel like this forever. And just tell yourself immediately, it's going to pass.
The belief is also very important that it will pass.
Everything is about beliefs,
Yeah.
right? Isabel, if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to stay a deadbeat, right? So if you have a certain positive belief, then that belief will stir up action, and a positive action at that. And then that positive action will yield some sort of positive result. But if you have a poor belief system, then you're going to take some sort of negative actions towards your pain or whatever symptoms you're having, and it's going to continue to perseverate these negative results in your mind as well as your body, right?
So I love this because there's so much of unconscious, unknown things that are influencing our healing, our body, our well-being. And you are combining the conscious and the subconscious in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And and like I said, that's why I really value the initial, be aware of your clothes, be aware of your breathing, right? That's just mindfulness, just this grounding, right? Sometimes you feel like you're suspended in the air, and when you're suspended in the air, it feels very anxious, right? I'm at a standing desk right now. My feet are on the ground. When you start to ground yourself, you can start to bring yourself into the present moment. And that present moment can deter you from your mind thinking about the future. I'm going to have this the rest of my life. How will I be a good father? How will I be a good mother? Whatever their identity is, they start to really drift into the future, and the pain experience again starts to get magnified the same way that when I got into a car accident and my dad was going through these issues. I was just a college student, but I'm like, how can I continue to live without my dad? It just kept perseverating over those thoughts. Once people are aware and once people can start to breathe into certain concavities, hopefully pain does reduce to an extent. Once they do that, we usually evaluate people online about their current mobility. So we start to see how they move from head to toe. We have people submit videos of them walking, and we start to figure out some compensations. We start to figure out some weak areas, some areas that may have been underdeserved, that may need some mobility and some TLC, right? Some tender loving care. And then once you do that, one of the things I always say is that besides mobility, people have to be strong through life, right? We waste away and our muscles do atrophy, sometimes 2 to 5% every single decade of life after the age of 30. So I think that strength training, along with mobility and breathing, strength training is a huge component to maintaining that quality of life, the ability to get off the couch, the ability to lift things off the floor. So we can't discount any aspect of what makes us human, which is got to be mobile. We got to be strong. We also have to be mindful and aware.
I also love that your mindset behind all of this work is I want to be a good father. I want to have a good life, a life that is long but also healthy. The journey starts with the physical, but when the goal is actually like much deeper, it means that you go a lot longer with your habits, right?
Yeah, and that's the last thing I always say, like the last gift of what we do for like our clients in our program is habits and lifestyle change. Because my habits, as far as like I literally just got back from a vacation. Our 7th anniversary, it was my birthday 2 days ago. So all in all, a lot of people, even on vacation, they'll fall off, right? Their normal routines. I'm a person that still tries to wake up at 5:50 in the morning. I try to get up and I do my workout. I go to whatever gym is available to me, the hotel gym or if there's a gym nearby, and I maintain those habits. Because if I don't maintain those habits, it's like not maintaining a car, right? The car is going to break down over time. Those pain symptoms that I felt even 17 years back, they can come back. It's like my Achilles area. So if I sit at a desk for 14 hours, I don't move at all, I'll start to feel those same exact symptoms that I felt during those car accidents. And many people carry stress in different areas. If you're a person that carries stress in your lower back, if you don't take care of your lower back, you're not doing your stretches and your exercises, that could be the area of weakness, for example, and that area of pain could come back. So that's why I always try to maintain such strong discipline, and I instill that into a lot of my clients. And my dad's picture's right here, so it always motivates me to help other dads, moms,
Mm.
people worldwide. That's what really leads my business.
we also really underestimate the compounding effect of all the small things that we do every day, right?
Yep.
And so when you say, okay, I'm going to go on vacation, and the language sometimes that we use is wrong, is like, I'm going to treat myself to something
Oh,
unhealthy,
for
or
sure.
it's not really treating yourself because it's not giving actually the love and the care to your body, you know? You can give that care in different ways. I think the mindset shift is so important. Can you tell me more about your discipline and how do you keep on with it in the difficult days when you haven't slept much because you've got two kids and your life is busy and you've got work and it's like, oh, do I actually want to wake up earlier to do my stretches and my strength training?
I'll combine the last thing that you said around treating yourself, right? Because treating yourself could mean a lot of different things depending on the person. And so one of my dissertations before I graduated from physical therapy was about coping mechanisms, right? One of them being positive coping mechanisms versus negative ones. And the research actually showed, because as a physiotherapist, they said that physiotherapists, amongst many of professions, had the best positive coping mechanisms. So when we're stressed, anxious, depressed, in pain, we generally go towards exercise as our treat, right? We're like, this is our treat to ourselves. My wife knows. I say this all the time, even on my own podcast, but if she ever feels that I'm feeling like a sense of stress or depression, or not depression, but just I'm not myself, she'll
Mm.
literally just put a finger like this and she'll be like, go. And she knows what's going on. She says, go downstairs to the garage gym and just work out until you feel better.
Yeah.
Right. So I literally work out for 2 hours and I burn off all the steam. I come back up and I'm like smiling. I'm great. And some people would treat themselves on vacation. It's like cupcakes, ice cream, sugar, 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 sitting at a cabana and not doing anything. Then all of a sudden you come back to regular life and you've already reinstalled negative habits, right? That those negative habits that you carried from vacation, they carry you back. So,
And these things are addictive as well. Like everything is against us. Society doesn't want us to eat vegetables and whole foods because it doesn't really make much money from it.
and the pharma industry, the industry of medication is to keep people exactly where they are. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to pop a pill for diabetes and you just got to swallow it versus actually changing your nutrition and changing your habits and changing your exercise.
Yeah.
One is so much easier, and then the other one is like this huge thing, and they're just like, nope, I'm going to go to the path of most comfort. And it's much
Mm.
easier to just take the pill and pay, a few dollars for this. And from a discipline standpoint, why my habits have gotten so good, there's two reasons. I think one, depending on your personality, I'm a very stubborn person. So when it comes to trying to be the best of my friends, for example, from a physical standpoint, outdo myself. I'm always like logging all my workouts.
Yeah.
I have 10 years worth of data. I can see what I squatted. I can see the exercise that I did back in 2015, and I have all that data on my phone. I carry that to every single phone. I always try to one up myself every single time. And it's just a stubborn mentality. The other thing I would say to people is habits, right? So sometimes you need external indicators to let you know what to do. If you're a person that sits at a desk for 40 hours and you're not used to exercise, you need to have some sort of external thing to remind you to do it. And that could
Mm.
be Google Calendar invites. That could be this right here, which I carry here, is called a Pomodoro timer. It's a
Yeah.
timer where you can set it for 5 minutes, 3 minutes. You can literally set that timer. And as that timer is going off, maybe you have 45 minutes of like really focused work, but when the timer goes off, it alerts you to at least do one or two stretches. And eventually, as you have enough of these external indicators, whether it's a light up thing, whether it's a sound that you hear, eventually that's like Pavlov's conditioning. You'll learn how to remove the trigger and eventually just make it more of a habit. Okay, Pavlov's conditioning, if you guys don't know, that's where a dog, somebody rings a bell, then he gets I think a piece of meat, and then he salivates and he eats that piece of meat. And then eventually they remove the steak, right?
Yeah.
Eventually they do it so many times, they just ring the bell, the dog still salivates. So it's just conditioning in which we're all mammals. So we are all capable of developing and removing bad habits and reinstalling new habits into our life.
Using your biology to your advantage in a way.
Yes, exactly. And it could be somatosensory too. So it could be like the vibration of a watch. I mean, most people's smartwatches, they actually will say, get off your butt.
Yeah, yeah,
You've been still for a long period of time. At the same time, I have a deep sense of why, right? There's a book called Knowing Your Why by Simon Sinek. You can know what to do to change your health. You can know how to do it to change your health. You know, you can have a coach, you can have YouTube videos to show you how to do it and what to do. But if you don't lead with why, and you don't have a deep enough purpose for why, then it's not really going to compel you to take the actions necessary to change your health. And my why is stronger than most. I have two beautiful kids.
yeah.
The last thing I want is to pass away early on, right? And that's one of the reasons why I lead with so much passion.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And kids learn from observing their parents. So, in a way, you're instilling so many beautiful lessons into them without even thinking about it.
No, no doubt about that.
You mentioned strength training a little bit. I want to talk about the importance of having the strong muscles around the bones when it comes to pain, longevity, well-being in the body sense.
Just to kind of define strength, strength is the ability to move something externally from point A to point B. That's one of the easiest, simplest definitions. So even if it's just moving your body weight, not necessarily like an actual dumbbell, for example, your body is weight. It's subjected to gravity. And you see some people that are older, 70, 80, 90 years of age, who can hardly get off the couch. Is that because of pain or is it because of weakness, right? Is it because of arthritis or is it because of a weakness standpoint? I think that people need to see that if you're not strong, if muscles aren't supporting joints, your body is more subjected to pain. Your body is more subjected to arthritis. Your body is more subjected to a very bad injury that may happen in the future. So staying strong is a very important aspect of what I do. If you look at the research, strength training is also a product of longevity, right? If people care about living longer and living a higher quality of life, strength training will diminish the percentages of you dying of anything by about 30 to 32%. It's pretty wild.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, you're looking at like anything. You're literally even cancer. You're looking at all these different diseases that can kill you, and your
Mm.
body is more resilient to dying of that disease by that percentage if it's stronger. I look at strength training as a privilege. Every single day that I go down to the gym, it's a day to work on my body, is to work on my mindset. I think that strength training not just makes my muscle stronger and makes me more capable to carry my kids and do the things I love to do, but it also does strengthen you mentally. At the end of the day, this is a mental health podcast. And when you can push yourself in a given set and you're really struggling, and then at the end of the day, you feel this euphoria, you feel this sense of accomplishment, how is that not going to translate to the other areas of your life? From a financial standpoint, you're probably going to work harder in your relationships. When life gets tough, you're probably going to work at it harder than somebody else that doesn't go to the gym or doesn't strength train. The last thing I'll say about strength training is, like, if you are somebody that has responsibilities for a child or for people around you, you got to look at it as, how many times have you said to maybe your kid or somebody that, oh yeah, I'm too old, I can't do that. I don't want to do that because I have fears of my body hurting itself. Like, oh, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm not young anymore. Well, you can stay young. I'm 36. It's not old, it's not young. But at the same time, I still feel like I'm completely at the best physical shape that I can be. Anything my kid wants to do, I just do it. Every single meal that I have with my kids, I just get to the floor. My kid gets on my back. I just knock out as many push-ups as possible before every meal. It's like saying grace before meals. It's like,
Yeah.
this is just what we do. And I know hopefully that inspires him.
That's really beautiful. And it ties up again to your identity with the compounding of the strength training every day. You end up identifying yourself as someone who takes care of yourself, takes care of your body, your strength, and that allows you to take care of the people that you love.
No, for sure. The identity piece is You got to see though, like some people that have like certain addictions like alcohol or smoking, they say, I'm going to try to make changes. It's like, I'll do my best to stop drinking because I know it's impairing every aspect of my life. But this word that you keep bringing back, which is identity, identity is so much stronger. It's deeply enrooted into your soul, into your DNA. So if you say, I am not a smoker, then it's a stronger. You're identifying as a non-smoker. You're
Yes.
identifying as a person that you want to be. The identity again changes your beliefs, which again, we said it last time, it changes your actions, and then it changes your results. It changes your quality of life for the better. So you identify as a person that's strong-willed. You do yoga. You're expert in nutrition. Therefore, you start to live your life exactly that way. Otherwise, you're a fraud. So identity is a huge component.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the mindset is so connected to the identity, right? Like the language that you use, even in how you talk to yourself. Like you said, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I will try. No, I'm going to do it. And then you can do it because you have the belief.
No, no doubt about that.
What are some inspiring stories that you've heard from your work, from clients or colleagues or anything?
There's a lot you can choose from. I've quit the insurance-based work since 2019. So it's been over 5 years of helping people, helped over a couple thousand people across the world and even in this area, even in different continents like Portugal and other places. So it's really cool how, really good healthcare can be translated now through a Zoom screen and through coursework. I wonder if she'll ever listen to this podcast, but there's a person that's like in a neighboring place to you. I started my Instagram and I was doing some crazy stuff on a Bosu ball and I was like jumping up and down with weights in my hand. I was just talking about how my knees are extremely resilient and strong. And she's like, you know what? I want that too. She was the same age as me. So she's 36 now. And she was diagnosed with knee arthritis and chronic low back pain. Doctors in the area told her, because of your condition, try to avoid squatting, avoid running, avoid things that are going to cause more damage to your knees. And that mindset of what the doctors told her sent her down obviously a place of fear, right? She operated out of a state of fear instead of empowerment. Her kids was like, Mommy, pick me up. And she's like, can't do it. I have to bend my knees, right? She's like, I can't do it. Walking down the stairs, she was walking down the stairs funny because she's like, she didn't want to put too much pressure on her knees. And when she saw me just jumping up and down, she's like, I want that too. So what we started off with was just Zoom evaluation. We just started looking as like, I want you to squat. She had a little bit of fear of that. We started to see compensations in her hips. We started to see just where she could work on. I told her to do it like, do this twice a day. Do these 3 exercises twice a day. I think she did it like 6 to 8 times that day. I think because she was so driven to make change. And she literally reported like the next day, she's like, my pain was a 7 out of 10 and now it's a 1 out of 10. She's like, I can hardly feel it. And after that confidence of just less than 24 hours into working with her, we started to work towards the things that the doctors told her not to do. So we started to get her into strength training. I believe she's squatting now 100 kilograms and she's like 5 feet tall and she's this little small lady. She's squatting 100 kilograms on her back. And now people in the gym are asking her how she gets so strong. They're asking her for tips. She ran her first 10K,
Wow, that's
right? And
amazing.
doing it completely pain free. And now she has really no limits to what her body can and can't do. So you can see how there are certain healthcare people that are going to stray you in sometimes in the wrong direction. The words that they say, like, don't do this, avoid this,
Yeah.
they probably have their best intention in mind, but you can see it has long-term repercussions. And when you can have somebody like myself or yourself that empowered people to make those changes and be like, no, it's not what you can't do. It's saying to yourself, how can I do that? How can I do that again? And strength training of mobility and the mindset of wanting and yearning for that change. That's the person that you see today. It's that person that's squatting 225 pounds and running 10Ks when, 6 to 5 years ago, she was living a very depressed life.
Complete change in someone's life. That's beautiful. And the most important part is now that she picks up a kid, makes a massive difference in someone's life. That's really nice. What would you say are the biggest misconceptions people have when they come to work with you?
Misconceptions in general with their own mindset is thinking that they have to live with pain for the rest of their life.
Mm.
Misconceptions are, if it hurts, don't do anything. Like if a squat hurts, don't squat whatsoever. How many times have we heard that narrative from various healthcare practitioners in our life? If it hurts, don't do it. Even our mom says it, right? Like if it hurts, okay, avoid it, put a band-aid in it, and just rest it.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, that's false. It couldn't be further from the truth. So I think some of those mindset changes are really critical. I think also misconceptions is looking for a quick fix. I think
Mm.
if people are saying like, hey, Jay, I need you to fix my lower back as fast as possible so I can get back to what I want to do, and they're expecting that 3 exercises done for 1 week is going to magnificently get rid of years of their pain, get years of sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why so many people stay in pain, is because they're looking for quick fixes. Let's say back in the day, 50 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do Zoom like this. Now we can instantaneously talk to each other on WhatsApp or get onto a Zoom call. So I do believe that the instantaneous and the quick gratification things that we can get, like Amazon and things shipped to our house, it's making everyone feel like they can get satisfaction at the click of a button.
Not just satisfaction, but success and the response to any desire that they have.
I totally can speak to that too. Kind of like the edge of the millennial.
Mm.
So many things were provided to you so quickly. And so when I started my business and I was like, oh, it's not getting off the ground and nobody knows about me. Dude, there was a lot of stages of like just depression and can I do this? Probably if I wasn't so driven in this quick gratification society, I probably would have just like pushed through harder and I didn't give it a second thought. But I was battling depression. I battled weight loss. Like I lost so much weight. My skin was pale. I mean, there was dark times in my own business. And I guess relating that back to people that are in pain is that because everything is so quick gratification, is that people aren't willing to take the harder route to see long-term changes. Short-term fixes come at a long-term cost because you're always just seeking the quick fix and it never gets solved. So you end up taking a lot longer time wise, and you spend a lot more money on that specific thing you're trying to fix because you're always looking for the quick way to do it rather than seek out just straight up just lifestyle behavior, changing your habits, slowly changing your nutrition. And again, changing your mindset. How long does that take? I'm sure you know all about that. It takes weeks to months because you're
Yeah.
so hardwired to think a certain way. So I think that those are some of the misconceptions I see. And from my program standpoint, I mean, people would think like, oh, I can't help people online. Well, I've proven that wrong. We've helped over like thousands of people across the world, and just make sure that you seek out the right approach, the ones that are really talking about the long-term behavioral changes.
Yeah. One thing that I want to touch on as well is self-compassion. How do we approach the work of bettering ourselves with compassion for ourselves rather than for wanting to change, for wanting to not be who we are anymore, basically?
Compassion is really putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and also compassion is being able to, I guess, express yourself in a way that's driven through intrinsic means, right? Not through external validation. I think intrinsically, if we start to treat our bodies with a sense of compassion, I think we start to understand that our body is a temple. Our body is something that we don't want to take for granted. I think our body is the thing that everyone should be thinking about investing in the most. We generally take a loan out for our house for tuition. Sometimes we get grants. And so we perceive education, we perceive cars and houses, and hell, people put loans on purses nowadays, right? So
Yeah,
it's
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 crazy.
crazy, right? I really need that Louis Vuitton purse. So I'm gonna take my credit card and spend money that I don't have. To have more compassion for your body is thinking to yourself, I'm going to do everything in my power to invest time, to invest finances, to invest in my external environment, and do everything necessary to take care of myself. Because if I take care of myself, then my quality of life is better. My happiness is fulfilled. People around me will start to feel a different version of me.
Yes, your relationships are better.
It translates to so many other opportunities in life that you thought you never had. If I was still stuck in pain, I would second guess picking up my son or having my son jump on my back and he just
Mm.
grabs my neck and I can just hold him and just like put him on my back and just do push-ups.
Yeah.
There was a point in life where I said, I'm not sure if I want to be a father because I think my son would not have a good experience. Right. And I thought that was one of the more horrible things I've said to myself. But now when you start to see how discipline and how all that compassion that you have for yourself, waking up 7 days a week and just working on your body all the time, working on your craft, and then therefore inspiring other people to do the same. And also just you having the ability to do whatever you decide to do and not have limitations on those things. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that for people, anybody that's listening, anybody that's suffering with chronic pain, if I can do it, I was not blessed with great genes. I was not blessed, I'm 5'8". I'm not the tallest person, but anybody that has the willingness and the mindset to do so, you can definitely change your life for the better.
It's amazing. It's so inspiring. There are three questions that I usually ask at the end. One is, what are you grateful for today?
Awesome. I really good at this one. I've made a couple podcast episodes on this about just coming back from vacation. This is my very first official work day back. I'm very grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my wife. We just had our 7th anniversary, September 2nd. So just very
Mm.
grateful for the sacrifices that she makes to allow me to do my work, to go to the gym 7 days a week. She
Yeah.
does a lot for me and she sacrifices, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for just another year of life. Just turned 36 2 days ago. I'm just blessed to have the ability to speak on these sets of platforms like yours and to have the body that's capable of doing many different things and inspiring people. And I'm just very grateful for my kids as well. They inspire me in everything that I do, because of my dad's, I guess, neglect for his health. It's become my mission to help more people and also to, be more present and strong and resilient for my kids. So I guess those are a few things I'm grateful for. I can go for days on
Yeah,
gratefulness, but
yeah, that's
those are the
amazing.
few that hit home for me.
I think gratitude is so important, isn't it? It's again, it's the mindset and it changes everything rather than saying, "Oh, I should go for a run." It's like I get to go for a run. This is really amazing. My body's able to do this.
No doubt about that.
Another one is a book that you would recommend.
I was going to say Atomic Habits by James Clear, because if you want to work on your habits, that's one of the key ones that I think has helped tremendously. But another book that's, I think, less popular that I think people should really go for is The One Thing by Jay Papasan. It's geared towards anybody that may have a lot of overwhelm or decision fatigue. And, think about your mom that has a million things to do on her to-do list and never gets it done. So therefore, every day of her life, she never feels fully fulfilled
Yeah.
or fully accomplished. The One Thing is a book that speaks to basically this question that's all the time. What is the one thing that I can do right now where it's going to have tremendous impact on my life and everything else becomes borderline unnecessary? What's the one thing that you can focus on? So if you're struggling with really poor health right now, don't focus on changing my diet, changing my nutrition, changing my exercise, changing my mindset, changing everything. What is one thing that's going to have the most tremendous impact on my life? And that one thing, therefore, cascades into the habits that you want for your life. So, One Thing by Jay Papasan is a fantastic book that has hit home for me the past 4 or 5 years.
It's so easy nowadays to get drawn into wanting to do everything. Yeah, simplicity is sometimes very healthy for well-being. There's a simplicity with movement, simplicity with the food, whole foods, not a lot of processed, and simplicity with the mind. Slow down, listen to your breathing. Great recommendation, thank you.
Yeah.
And the last question is, how do people find you and how can they work with you?
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. My handle is Flex with Dr. J. So the full word doctor, then JAY. If you want just helpful tips on exercise, wellness, pain relief, strength training, longevity, that's what my page is about. And if people do ever want to work with us, feel free to also go to one of our pages, either on Yelp or Google, or people can go to flexwithdrj.online/apply. And they can just simply just fill out an application so we get to learn more about them. And then we can have a conversation on whether we're the right fit to help you. But ultimately, I always want to gain people's trust. So feel free to gather probably the thousands of free resources and exercises available to you. And I also have a Facebook group, which is for like elite performers. So anybody that's like business owner, parent, entrepreneur, executive, feel free to just click Flex to Dr. J, just type that in and you'll be able to find that group as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to link everything in the description so that people can just click. This is a story that people need to listen now and again. And it's the one thing that gets them to take the first step. And then there's compounding steps that changes their life. So thank you for being here and for possibly changing a lot of people's lives with this conversation.
I appreciate you letting me speak about my passions, and I hope that we have more conversation in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it again. I've got loads of other questions that I didn't ask.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Have a lovely, lovely day with your kids.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. All the links are written down on the show notes, as well as resources for anyone struggling with their mental health. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release new episodes. Also, feel free to share our podcast with your friends and family. And if you'd like to get involved, explore our content, or support our work, visit our website www.yourlight.earth. That's yourlight.earth. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at u.r.light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.